Hello, Orland Park. I'm Dan McMillan for Orland Park TV. And today on Orland Park TV, we have a very, very special show. We're going to show a talk about a subject that is very, very dangerous within the community. We want to get the word out about Ruse Burglary, the cause and what can be done to prevent it. We're also going to talk about a lot of other fun facts with the Orland Park Police Department, because it is one of the top police departments in the state of Illinois. It's my favorite police department. I call it the best in class. I think that most of you out there will agree, feeling very safe living here in Orland Park. So sit back, relax. We're going to spend some quality time with Commander John Keating of the Orland Park Police Department. I'm Dan McMillan for Orland Park TV, and we'll be right back. Commander Keating, what we want to focus on a few different parts of the police department today. And I just want to say that on a personal level, the Orland Park Police Department is best in class. I've had nothing but good experience with them, both in defending with our businesses and on a personal, in our neighborhood. You guys have done a tremendous job keeping everything in order. So I want to thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about today. We want to start out by talking about the topic of Ruse Burglary. What is, let's define for everyone at home, what is a Ruse Burglary? Spelled with an R-U-S-E, Ruse Burglary.
Well, Ruse burglaries are a burglary where mostly targeting seniors. Obviously, as our aging community, people are living longer. Yeah. They're more vulnerable. A lot of times they live alone. And so when they're targeted by these individuals, they try to draw their attention outside the house. There's numerous ways they can do it. Some of the scams that they use is, we're working on your neighbor's yard, we're putting a fence up, we're concerned about going onto your property. And as you know, seniors are concerned, very territorial and independent. And they try to draw them outside the house to look at the property line. So when they draw the attention of the senior outside, then one of the other suspects will enter the home, and traditionally what they'll do is they'll go after cash and jewelry. And they can pose, the offenders can pose as utility workers, postal workers. They have also tree trimmers. Historically, seniors, their homes, sometimes they need assistance taking care of their home, whether it be trimming trees or cutting the lawn, or the house might be in disrepair. So the suspects tend to use that to their advantage when they're gaining the confidence of the homeowner to try to lure them outside of the home to commit these crimes. So anytime you have a senior, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a senior, but majority of them are seniors that are targeted for this type of crime. And a ruse is using some story, a lie, to gain their confidence, to remove them from the home so someone else can enter that open, unlocked door and enter the home and commit a crime.
So they come up and they say they're a utility man, and they get the senior very interested. Is it somebody else then commits the crime? If somebody else commits the crime while they distract them, or do you find that it also occurs just one-on-one?
Usually it's either one or more that enter the home. Usually the main primary, there's always communication normally, either through a Bluetooth in their ear, handheld walkie-talkie, or a cell phone. Okay, so the other offenders, the other suspects that are part of the crew are listening for the key words that are used. A lot of times they'll speak in a different language, communicating with each other. We've had some of the scams, it's not necessarily always outside the home. We've had them say, hey, we're working on your neighbor's property, we had to shut their water down. Can we get some hot water from your basement, or can we check something in your basement? So the offender will actually go inside the home with the victim, in a different part of the home, and while the other suspects enter the home and take their valuables. So there is usually a communication between the suspects, communicating, waiting for that moment when the homeowner's distracted or out of the picture, and they can enter the home.
So what can they do? What was some of the suggestions that people can do to prevent them?
Well, number one, when someone comes, either sometimes seniors in the warmer weather months and they're outside working in the yard, we encourage them, if you're outside working, you shut your garage door, you keep your doors locked. Okay. If someone comes to your door and they're identifying themselves as a utility worker or a property surveyor or a tree trimmer, do not open up the door. Do not open up your house door. Ask them from a locked door, what do you need, what do you want, and ask for identification. And if you're not expecting someone to come to the home and you don't have an appointment with a village employee to check something, then we encourage them to call the police. Do not, under any circumstances, open up the door.
Yeah. So if somebody comes in, you're a perfect one, and they say they've got to check or get some hot water or something like that, just tell them, go to the next house. Don't open it up at all. Don't try to be nice. I guess there's a time when you can be too nice. There's a time when you just got to stand your ground.
And that's true. The seniors are very compassionate, empathetic. They want to be cooperative. However, tell them, nope, I'm not going to let you in. I'll call the police and they'll help you.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how quick these individuals leave once the homeowner says that. And we encourage these homeowners to call the police.
Yeah.
We would rather be there to come out there and prevent a crime than find out about it later.
If you think there's a Ruse burglary or you feel threatened by someone outside your door, is 911 proper use?
Yes.
So, okay.
Call 911. I'll give you a perfect example. This fall, we had a gentleman that was in his garage working. One of the suspects approached him, was talking about doing some driveway repair. He remembered one of the community engagement meetings that we had, and he turned and didn't even engage the guy. He turned and yelled at his wife, lock the door, and call the police right now. And that individual, of course, wasn't a legitimate businessman trying to do, solicit repairs legally. He then fled the area. We ended up, officers did find that vehicle, and we identified some of the suspects. Unfortunately, we couldn't charge them with a crime related to that, but we linked them to other crimes in other communities.
So now, if you do feel like you've become the victim and you haven't done enough to prevent it, you haven't kept your door locked, you haven't called 911, and you feel that you were the subject of a Ruse burglary, what's your next step?
A lot of these crimes, or we feel that some of these crimes, the senior feels like they were duped.
Yeah.
And they say to themselves, wow, how could I be so naive to believe that, I know better. We still don't want them to think to feel embarrassed. We want them to call us.
Yeah.
We hope that, by getting the information out, the media outlets such as this, that we do have family members that communicate with their seniors and neighbors that communicate with their neighbors or seniors to tell them, hey, if something like this happens, you need to call the police, you need to let someone know, you need to tell somebody. One of our mottos this year is if you see something, say something, and do it now.
Yes.
So we want them to feel comfortable to call us, not to feel embarrassed, because you're talking about professional thieves. You're professional criminals that are very adept at gaining confidence of these seniors.
Yes.
And so don't feel, you're not the only one, believe me. But our ultimate goal is to have zero of these crimes occur and victimize these seniors.
Well, you've been quite successful in reducing them in the last few years. So what was the number from 2013 to 2014?
Well, we had 15 reported Ruse burglaries in 2013, and in 2014 reduced it to 3.
Yes, so you're definitely on the right track. You're getting the word out with the community, and the work that you've done is tremendous progress.
Well, I appreciate that, but a lot of it is, the media outlets such as this, and just reinforcing that at our community events. It may sound repetitive, but when we have these senior luncheons, and I had a neighbor or a friend, that had this happen and that happen, so everybody keep that communication going and talking about it and get the word out. I appreciate it.
Well, if other people in the neighborhood, how can other people in the neighborhood try to prevent the Ruse burglaries
Well, when we work,
before it happens?
sure, we work regularly with the Illinois State Police Ruse Burglary Task Force, because it's not just, it's a regional crime. I mean, the Chicago metro area, these crews and crime families do not just stay in one area.
No.
We monitor them, open intelligence information, but when we analyze how they commit these crimes, we want neighbors to keep an eye on each other.
Yeah.
So when you know that there's a senior living next door and you see a work truck or it could be an SUV, it's not necessarily a pickup truck or a van that is perpetrating these crimes. They come in regular vehicles. So we ask that if you see something suspicious or a vehicle that just doesn't seem right, don't be concerned about being a nosy neighbor. We've had some say, well, I didn't want to be nosy. It looked like they had a worker over there. You know what? If it raises to your level of looking odd to you, we want you to call. Write down the license plate number. Use that cell phone.
Yeah.
Take a photo of the vehicle. Take a photo of the license plate. If it's a legitimate worker, they won't mind. Okay? Call the police and let our officers evaluate and talk to them. And I don't think you'll get a neighbor around, if you're looking out for them, that would be upset about you calling the police because you're worried about them.
Err on the side of caution. Be like, we could all use another Mrs. Kravitz, as I said, if you remember the old
I do.
I do. So the Ruse burglaries, you've had a lot of success. And they've decreased this past year, but of course you can never rest on your laurels because there's always crime out there, so to speak. That's why the crime dog is always on the loose. But let's also talk about another crime that sometimes seniors are a victim of. It's the phone scams that prey on seniors. Let's talk a little bit about that.
We have seen an increase over the last 5 years of reported phone scams. And there's a variety of ones that are in operation now. And we encourage seniors, like it's some of the information we put out, to get on the do not call list, donotcall.gov, and you can program your phone number in there, to hopefully the solicitors or the telemarketers do not call you. But if you do receive a call, we've had scams where the male caller identifies himself as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We have your granddaughter in custody here. She came across the border with drugs. She doesn't want to call her parents, and she needs bond money. Well, so a lot of times they don't even identify the granddaughter's name. But then the victim might say, well, what granddaughter? Is it Mary? Yeah, it's Mary. And they'll have a female crying in the background. Yeah. And they'll say, okay, you need to go to Western Union, Green Dot, different avenues to wire money. Once you, get that wire transfer, contact us back with the confirmation number, and then we will release your granddaughter. Here, a grandparent is, the victim's thinking of helping out a grandson or granddaughter.
Yeah.
They don't want mom and dad to know. They go and complete that transaction. Once that confirmation number is called in, that suspect can then redeem that anywhere that they have those services available. So tracking that, a lot of times it's out of the country. Yeah. So in regards to law enforcement tracking that, it's almost impossible. Yeah. So, or when they call and say that you've won something, send us taxes to pay for the $4 million. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. It is. Pick up the phone. Call a family member, call a loved one that is trustworthy, and explain that to them. You're better off just hanging up on the phone with them. And if you need to, you call the police and report it to us, because we like to keep track certain numbers. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few different versions of the phone scams. But if you won something, you won the lottery, you owe us taxes, send this, and then we'll send you the check.
Yeah, it's kind of like the email that we get a lot. I don't know if you've seen it. It was from Nigeria, saying that they've got $5 million or whatever to send to you, but they need your bank information. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how many people have ever sent that, but it seems to keep coming through. But I think one of the advice to seniors and just about anybody on these phone scams is just be cynical and understand that, like you said, if it's too good to be true, it is. And so just be prudent and just hang up at a moment's notice.
Try not to even engage in conversation. Yeah. What we found is we've been called to homes with seniors, and the suspect calls back to the house, and we have an officer answer the phone identifying himself as a police officer. These scam artists are sometimes can be aggressive. They don't care if you're the police. What are you going to do, come get me? I mean, our officers have engaged in conversation because they know they've either spoofed a number, put a fake number, or they're not even in the country. No. And so they're very aggressive with these seniors and, pressuring them. We're going to send an FBI agent to your house and arrest you if you don't wire this money. It isn't like the old days where they would be scared and hang up the phone and move on to the next phone call. They're very aggressive. Yeah. So we have vulnerable victims, sometimes live alone. The best thing to do when it's difficult for them, just hang up the phone. Don't even talk to them.
Well, hopefully everyone out there that either that's a senior or knows a senior or anyone will make sure that they get the word out just to really be aware that there's a lot of bad people out there. There really are. That's what it comes down to. So let's talk a little bit about Orland Park Police, all the great things you guys do in the community. And one of the things that every year that many police stations do around the state, I think, maybe even around the country, what do we call it? A night out against crime. How did that evolve, and and how important do you see that being for the community?
Wow, I think it's well over 20. I've been here almost 28 years, and I think it started well over 20 years ago. And it's Night Out Against Crime. It's a community engagement. Yeah. We've done it for like I said, every bit of 20 years, and we have different events, different community programs that are displayed at night. But it's a fun event. It's usually, I don't know what it is. It's the second Tuesday, I believe, in August every year. Yes. And we have some groups in the community, some businesses that come out. We have different fun. We're trying to open a line of communication between the community and the teens and the youth in Orland Park to let them understand a little bit about what we do, what the police do. And so they feel comfortable that we are approachable, that they won't feel reluctant to call 911, that they will feel approachable when they see us out at one of the businesses or walking in Orland Square or riding the bike patrol in their neighborhood. Yeah. That we're just not, a uniform in the squad car that writes someone a ticket for talking on the cell phone. Yeah. That we are people, parents, brothers, sisters, just like everybody else. So it's kind of a laid-back atmosphere. We have music. We have, I know Mark's been out there, and I know I know your business is a big supporter of it.
Yeah, we're a huge supporter of it, and we'll continue.
And we appreciate that. And so Night Out it's really a fun event, and it helps our guys, our officers, get more engaged in the community instead of just driving around in the squad car.
No, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. It brings the community and the police together, which are one and the same. Because without the police force, the community's not safe, and you exist because of the community, and it's kind of it works together. Now, there's other things that the police force offers to the community, and it was something I'm reading the annual report, something about the Citizens Police Academy. Can you elaborate about that? And then can I join? What do we do if we want to come to the Citizens Police Academy?
Well, we've done that you put me on the spot. I can't remember how many years we've been doing that, but since I've been the commander back in investigations, we've done it at least for the last 10, 15 years. And what it is it was a 9-week program, which was village residents of Orland Park, and we used to cap it at about 25. And what it is, it gives those members of the Citizen Police Academy an insider view, a look at every aspect of the police department, every job that we do, whether from police administration, Chief McCarthy, to the street evidence technicians in the field, to our K-9, to our SSERT, our special response team, the membership. We bring in the traffic unit. Every unit in the police department presents to the Citizen Police Academy. We do some, when I say hands-on, they get a kind of feel for exactly what we do on a daily basis, and which we hope fosters, good relationships in the community. And what we're changing up a little bit this year, we're going to try it for the first time, and instead of the 9 weeks with a graduation and ceremony and what have you, this year we're going to try it, and we do it in September and October, but we're going to gear it for 2 Saturdays, because we found out it's difficult when people go on vacation, they might miss a week, and we don't want them to miss anything.
Yeah.
So we're going to try something a little different this year. It's going to be 2 Saturdays in the month of either September or October, and it'll be an 8-hour day, so it'll be just a robust, interactive, all-day Saturday, lunch provided by us, and we're going to see how that works out. We're responding to some of the feedback from previous classes of what would work best for them, what they think we could do better, and one of the suggestions was, why don't you do it on a couple Saturdays, so people, missing from work or whatever, and so we're going to try it this year.
Well, it's something. Do they come out with a badge, or do they come out definitely come out with a greater and a better understanding of what the police do? But can they make a citizen's arrest or anything like that? Can we do that?
No, you can't. So if that's why you wanted to join, I'm sorry, Dan, but...
No, I always wanted to do that ever since we saw Barney do
it
back on Andy Griffith.
They do get a certificate of attendance, but no, it's not like a traditional law enforcement police academy. One of the highlights I know is they get to do a ride-along with our patrol officers on different shifts. So they're in the squad car and not making arrests and not going to, in-progress calls where they can be injured. Yeah. But they get to meet some of the officers in patrol and kind of get a feel for what it's like to be a policeman. So, but I think that I can't remember one, and I read the evaluations. There's not much negative feedback. I think it's not like what you watch on TV. Some of the TV shows and crime shows. We don't get a fingerprint back in 3 seconds and chase the offender down. Yeah. But it's relative to our community, and it's been very successful, and that's why I know the chief and the board provides us the resources to continue to do it. This year, I encourage you to join, and we'll take 2 Saturdays out of your life and get after it. And but it's a lot of fun, and hopefully, and this year also we're going to do it's something new that we're going to try this year is a teen citizen police academy, which is going to be geared toward 15 and 18-year-olds in Orland Park, not specific to any one school, but 15 and 18-year-olds. This is the first year we're going to do that, and it's in the planning stages now because we want more involvement with the youth. Yeah, and that's one way. To do it.
Excuse me. If someone is, speaking of youth, if someone is considering a career in law enforcement as a policeman, what do you see as their best path?
Well, education. Anything, I mean, when we talk about college education,
yes,
we encourage them. Now, we have some accountants, we have biology majors, some that, for whatever reason that was their field in college and the course of study. We encourage criminal justice and forensics. But, the 4-year degree, as a matter of fact, we're testing in the spring of 2016, and some of the preferential points that you get when you finally take the written exam for the Orland Park Police Department are military and education, bachelor's degree. So that's an added benefit or added bonus. And so continue. I mean, it's an evolving. Policing is not the same as it was 28 years ago when I started. Computer technology, some of the things we utilize, and what is required of a police officer. Not just a patrolman, but investigative-wise, and the knowledge that you have to have and to continue education. So were a big push. The chief and the police department, we I can't tell you the number. The chief would know the number of how many of our 101 officers have master's degree, advanced degrees.
Well, the technology is such. I find it fascinating. I sat in on a meeting last year, I think it was, over at we had one of the village Parks and Recreation meetings at the police station, and they showed us all of the enhanced technology, so that no longer you pull up to you don't just pull up to a building and not know. You've got software that tells you where everything is in that building. I mean, for most buildings, you've mapped out most of them in the village. So if you get a 911 call and you're coming up there, you've got a screen to look up to see where the entrances are, where this might be, and where that room is. How do you find that has enhanced the police, you being able to help defend the community?
Well, it's a tremendous tool, and you're probably referring to the Viper program.
Yes, that's it.
We identify schools being one of them.
Yes.
Some of the in village buildings, and some other buildings that could be a higher risk or higher potential for incidents occurring there. And the Viper system is a tremendous tool, and it assists us. Just like any type of technology. Whatever, taking a snapshot of an area that you're going to be going to, even though I might not be familiar with a particular school, working there every day, I can pull it up on my laptop and find out room 222 and kind of what it looks like and what entrance is the best to come in at. So technology has evolved. I remember we would get looking for a picture of a suspect. We'd have to drive down to 11th and State in Chicago and wait for someone to pull an old mugshot. And then we'd have to physically go around to the different police departments and say, hey, I'm looking for this guy. Well, now we can pull it up within seconds on our iPhone and send out a APB all points bulletin on that subject within less than a minute. And we've had our detectives sometimes have had calls within seconds by different agencies. Okay, I know who that guy is. I know where he's at. So it's helped law enforcement. Social media, getting the information on it. You're putting information out, but you're also getting information back.
Yes.
So it's definitely a crime tool that has evolved for an old guy like me. There's old timers that roll over in the grave to see how we do business now compared to what was 30 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. If you watched, in a lighter subject, before we get back into the things about a few different things in the community, what do you think is the most realistic TV show, police TV show that gives us the real behind the scenes?
Oh boy,
1 Adam 12, of course, but
that's a tough question. I don't watch a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I guess I really couldn't.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's
I really couldn't comment on it.
CSIs and everything else on now. That
Right.
It makes everybody think that that they can solve crimes.
Well, I think some of the CSIs that we've seen, I think sometimes it's unrealistic, because then a victim's saying, well, why is it taking, if you have fingerprints at a crime scene, why did it take 12 or 13 months for you to identify the person? Not understanding that sometimes the crime lab is backlogged or what have you, or the individual that the fingerprint now comes back to hadn't been arrested. Now they are arrested, so now it goes through the fingerprint database and they're able to pull that individual up. So whether it be DNA, whether it be fingerprints, it's not like on TV. We wish it was.
Yeah.
I wish we could identify a suspect within, with DNA within 15 minutes like they do on TV, but that's not reality.
It takes time. Mm-hmm. Things take time. So, closer to home, I see a lot of policemen riding bikes now. When did that start, and where and how helpful is that in the community with being able to ride bikes out in the area?
When did it start for us? Because I know my partner, Lieutenant Farrell, and myself were the first bike patrol officers in Orland Park. It was right after Chief McCarthy came in
so it's been
to the department, pushing on the year here, 1996. I'm trying to guess on the time. It was more of a community-based, like community policing type of program. However, it also evolved into quite a few, criminal arrests.
Yeah.
Our bike. We now have 4 bike patrol officers that work full time in the summertime. And I'll tell you, besides the parades, the block parties, and some of the community events, we do a Trailers in the Park where we go into different communities or different parks every year.
Yeah.
We have our bike guys come out there, whether it be bike registration, talking about crimes quality of life crimes that affect that area. But they do make quite a few criminal arrests because they're out at night, they're on the trails, they're in the parks. They're in the neighborhoods, they're in the parking lots, and a lot of people aren't looking for, someone riding around on a bicycle, rolling up on them. Sometimes they could be clandestine and sneak into some certain areas. So it's kind of a double weapon for us: community contact, community relations, as well as crime, suppression. So it's worked real well. That's why we're committed to it. We have 4 full-time riders, highly trained, so I'm sure they're chomping at the bit for this cold weather to get over with so they can get back out on the bike. So,
well, you've also got, which in doing a little research, the beat meetings. Can you explain a little bit about what the beat meetings are in the community?
Well, we have 8 patrol beats in Orland Park, and as a matter of fact, we have a beat meeting tomorrow night for Beat 1 and Beat 7. And if you ever want to find out what beat you are, well, you'll get a code red message if you're in a particular area alerting you that this meeting is coming up. We have people from the investigations division there. My lieutenant will be there addressing the citizens. Like I said, we'll also have someone from the village developmental services. We found that a lot of the questions that were coming forward were, when I say quality of life, it could be neighborhood garbage, a house in disrepair. Some of them weren't necessarily police questions, but from the developmental services side. So we also have a representative from the village come. That way we can streamline the issues. And we give the community a chance to, now we usually hold these in their neighborhood. Tomorrow, because Beat 1 is covered by the police department, we're having it at our station tomorrow. But we utilize the different school districts, whether it be 135 or 140 or 146, and they allow us to use their facility there. That way it's closer to your neighborhood. That way you don't have to drive all the way across town. But we want the people to come out. We want them to ask us questions, bounce questions, if they have concerns. We've had speeding problems, stop sign issues, and they didn't feel comfortable calling it in, but they feel comfortable at the beat meeting saying, hey, listen, this is what the problem is, this is where it's happening, when it's happening. We have a house that we feel might be involved in illegal activity. Here's the house, here's the information. We get their contact number, and then we follow up on it and address it right away. So we've been doing that for years. Don't give me a date. I can't remember a date on that.
No.
But it's another way, and we do talk about some of the things we've talked about here. Whether it be Ruse Burglaries, phone scams, we reiterate that message. So it's been very successful. We're going to continue to do it. And we encourage those that get that code red message over their phone. That means it's in their area. We'll give you a location where it's going to be, and please attend.
Now, the beat meeting, is that similar to, would that be part of the neighborhood watch? Is the neighborhood watch, sometimes you'll see the signs up that this is a neighborhood watch, and I know over at Evergreen View they've posted signs, and they've had meetings for the neighborhood watch. Is that similar, or is it the same thing? Or?
Well, it's a little bit different. Some of the neighborhood watch, we have the homeowners association groups that get together and they communicate amongst themselves. But in the advent of technology and the internet and media so the old neighborhood watch program, that was, I'm not saying it was old news, but it was years ago. And when information wasn't able to be shared, amongst people so quickly via electronic means now. But we still encourage the homeowners association groups to come to the beat meetings, so it's a little bit different. We do talks, like if your homeowners association says, we're having a homeowners meeting, we'd like someone from the police department to come because we have some issues that we'd like to address with them regarding our area. we go to not just beat meetings, but we go to neighborhood homeowners association meetings on a regular basis. We just ask them to call the station, and someone from the investigations unit, community relations, will respond to them. Whether it be a business, whether it be an association, we make every effort to come and because we want to get feedback and input from you.
Yeah.
So we encourage you to call.
So speaking of the community, there was something that the police appear to be very involved in the Special Olympics. I think I did the bike ride last year. Mm-hmm. That was the chief was out there in front. And I think he kept the pace. I had a hard time keeping up with them, but I did my best. But so what is the connection with the police department and the Special Olympics?
Special Olympics nationwide, law enforcement is a huge supporter. That's one of the marquee charities that, nationwide, Special Olympics is one of the things that we've always endorsed and been behind. I think once you see these special athletes, yes, and look at their faces, it just warms your heart. So it's not difficult to get support, not just from the law enforcement, but also the community. Yeah, we do the bike ride. Yes. We also have what's called the Special Olympics Torch Run, where our officers, that torch travels throughout the state of Illinois from different law enforcement agencies. That's coming up. I can't remember when that is. I think it's in June. I know the bike ride might be in August.
Yeah, the bike ride's in August, yeah.
And but we usually have anywhere between 20 and 50 runners just for Orland Park that run, and then we pass that torch along. Through T-shirt sales, hat sales, pin sales at different community events, at Orland Days, 100% of those proceeds go to the Special Olympics. And then we have a coordinator from the department that then, the cop on the top. I can't forget that. Dunkin' Donuts sponsors the cop on the top.
Yes.
I was out on the one on Harlem Avenue on a hot sunny day, waving a flag, trying to get people and encourage them to donate and get a coffee mug. And Dunkin' Donuts has been very, very kind and gracious, giving out free coffee with the purchase. But that's one of the best programs that I think I've ever been involved with. Charitable programs that we've had here at Orland Park.
Well, you guys do so much in the community, and you could go on and on about everything you do. You keep the streets safe, you keep the community safe, you keep you bring the community together, like we talked about the Night Out Against Crime, which will be coming up again this August. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of just summarize what it means or what the police mean to the community?
Well, I mean,
not to put you on the spot, but,
to summarize, well, when you talk about community engagement, of course, we're talking about a lot of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we like to hear. From the management standpoint, our officers on the street every day and our investigators, from detention aides that handle the prisoners, and, that's what makes us feel good as an organization when we hear about the good things. Now, even in the midst of, bad things or being a victim of a crime, if the experience and how helpful and compassionate our people have been to them, and I hear those stories later on in the community, even though I wasn't even involved in it, that is the sense of pride that I think our organization, our police department is looking for. And that's why we have these community programs. It's beneficial for us, but we feel it's beneficial even more so for the community to have an understanding of what we do, how we want to engage the community in a positive way, address major issues that we're having in the village, and whether it be if there's youth violence, bullying is also a big issue at the forefront, substance abuse, education of substance abuse, and all these other issues that are coming up. We're very strong with our DARE program. We're one of the few communities that continues to do that. We've changed the program, evolved with the program to address what is dealing with our youth now, We're always trying to get better at it. We're always trying to learn, and that's where we're getting our information. It's from the community, interaction with the youth. So that's why we're trying to tailor some of the different programs that we do to address that and work with these other civic organizations that have the resources and have the contact with these kids. That's something, I know I'm passionate about, and our people are too.
Yeah, there's so many different things so many different groups and so many quality organizations. One that we work very closely with is Aaron's AIM, Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists, and that's something that you probably see not on a daily basis, but it's still out there. It's something that you can never, the DUIs, you probably just shake your head sometimes and think, well, what were they thinking? But that's why, organizations like AIM continue to be so necessary. And so what do you see as, organizations like AIM and some of the others, what do you see as their importance to the community?
Well, they're shedding a light on an issue, and they continue. AIM they're invited to our award ceremony every year, and they still continue to or support law enforcement in addressing drunk driving.
Yeah.
One drunk driver is too many.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're there, and they present awards every year. I've been here 28 years. I haven't seen them miss one. And they present awards to our patrolmen that are leading the department with DUI arrest. We want those stats to go down because we want compliance. We want people to realize that you just can't do it. And there's other ways to, if you're intoxicated, do not get behind the wheel of a car. And when AIM comes out, there's no greater impact than when you hear these representatives from AIM come out and talk about personal experiences that they've had, whether it be family members, whether they've been themselves were offenders at one time. That's got some meat behind the message there. Is when they come out. So we do appreciate their continued work with this mission.
Yeah. Well, it's a mission. It'll never go away. That's I've come to that conclusion. No matter how hard they work, and they do a great job, and we usually cover it, and I do a golf outing on their behalf, and it's just something that it's too bad, but it's something that has to be done, and because everybody thinks, especially the young, when you're young, that you're invincible, that you can do it, but you just have to keep working against it. What I wanted to say, two things is, to wrap up on a lighter note, the Orland Park Police Department, one other thing, explain to us why you're going to be one of the top 9 police departments in the state of Illinois.
Well, when they say top 9,
there's 8 others
we have applied for ILEAP, which is the Illinois Law Enforcement. You're killing me here with the program. You can look it up. It's an accreditation program run by the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, and it's a program. There's 2 tiers.
Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation Program.
We were awarded a Tier 1 accreditation. This is where I need Chief McCarthy because he's got an unbelievable recall. A couple years ago, now we applied for Tier 2 accreditation, and what that basically does is it compares your policies, procedures, your standards, how you operate as a law enforcement organization, and compare you to the industry standard, the high standard, and of the industry, and see how well you're doing business, and make sure that you're doing as much as you can, or following the right rules and responsibilities of that industry standard of the organization. So I know the chief and everybody that worked on it, as well as the village board, I'm sure, are very happy that we've been awarded that Tier 2 accreditation, and we're very proud of it. Yeah, as well you should be. So it's an honor, and it's great to be living in a town that has that accreditation. It's credit to you as a commander, Chief McCarthy, and the whole team, the whole team of policemen and policewomen, and it's just a great thing to be here. And I'm just, we're very proud of the force itself. But what we would like to see, the police back on the field,
against the firemen. When are we going to see the guns and hoses again?
Well, hopefully, I think we hold the trophy, don't we?
I think, the police won the last one.
Yes.
I think Ken Brucky and his team have been ducking you.
I think you're right. I think the challenge is on the ball's in their court to no, I don't want to say no. Chief and his guys are great, and we have a great working relationship with them. But I think they did come to realize that when you chose law enforcement as a career, you gave up your right to be unfit. So our officers are in top physical condition, and I think possibly the Chief Brucky might be a little concerned about that. But no, I know Ken real well. But hopefully we can bring it back.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Come out of retirement, and so hopefully around the 4th of July we'll put something together and get back on the field.
We'll have to work on it, folks. You should send your emails demanding that the Guns and Hoses game be put back on the schedule. I would like to end on a personal story. Not that it's all about me, but this relates to the work where you just go above, where you definitely went above and beyond the call of duty. About a year ago, in Labor Day, Labor Day, I was up in Glenview, and I did something stupid, leaving my wallet on a table after I ordered a football tape. And it was football season, so I had to order it. I ordered the tape, left my wallet out on the table, went in the restaurant. An hour and a half later, I realized I didn't have it. Traced my steps. I said, "Oh, I left it." Everything goes through your mind. Your identity theft. Your identity is going to be gone. And so, down and out. Within a half hour, I was driving. It was less than an hour, probably a half hour. I get a call from my daughter. She had gotten a call. She had been visited by the Orland Park Police because the wallet was turned into Glenview Police Station. They called Orland Park Police because, of course, I didn't have a phone number in the wallet like I should have. Just driver's license with the address. They went over to so Glenview called Orland Park. Orland Park went over to the house. She called me, told me it was there at Glenview Police Station. It's probably the biggest relief just because it wasn't just the money that was in it, but the amazing part was everything was intact. The money was in it, the cards, everything, the license. So I went to pick it up, and forever, forever, the gratitude that I had for the police work right then and the person who ever turned it in. They didn't want it to be, they didn't want a reward, they didn't want anything, they just wanted to turn it in. So your police station does work. I can tell you from firsthand experience like that, how much it works. So keep doing things like that. Commander John Keating, you're a credit to the force. The force be with you. Mm-hmm. The entire Orland Park Police Department is we're just like I said before, we're just so proud of the force. We're proud to live here knowing we're protected by what we consider the finest police force in the state of Illinois, if not the country. So thanks for everything. We'll look for you out there. We'll look for you on the beat. You're not still on the bike.
Not still on the bike, but I'll be out there.
Which it's okay. We'll look for you. And
I appreciate it.
Hopefully you'll be in the Special Olympics ride this year.
I will.
There.
I'll be in the ride, and I encourage you to join the Special Olympics run.
Yeah.
It's about 4.5 miles. Last year it was only about 94 degrees.
What the heck? We'll
in the shade.
We'll sweat it out. We'll sweat it out. Thanks for being here.
No, I appreciate all the kind comments, and I appreciate the opportunity to get this message out to hopefully a lot of the points we covered.
Oh, yes.
That the seniors or the community, and just open that line of communication with everybody, because we want our ultimate goal is zero crime in a perfect world.
Very good. So, Commander John Keating, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Orland Park.